What's up everybody on YouTube? My name is Muhammad and I am the owner of Product Feedback. That's youtube.com/product feedback. And I'm here with Marquez from the MKBHD channel. Go check him out. He does some quality content and he'll be uploading a lot of videos in the next sort of couple months. He's back into it, he's pumped and he's excited, so we're ready to enjoy some of his videos. Now, just a little bit of an explanation to what's going on here. Basically, I'm getting in touch with a lot of good YouTubers to get their opinions on different consumer technology stuff, which is worth discussing and finding out what way is the best. And in this case, we're actually going to be looking at Apple versus Google in terms of the cloud experience. So that's pretty straightforward. There's not much to, well, there's a lot to discuss about that topic. But what I'll do is we'll get Marquez to introduce us to the Apple side of what they offer in terms of the cloud from a music perspective, and then we'll discuss also what they do from an iOS perspective and as well as an Android perspective from Google, and then we'll see what else we can talk about later on. So Marquez, go for it. Before we start, give us some information. So how long have you been on YouTube, and what are you planning for the future? What's going on?
I've been on YouTube for close to 3 years now, about 2.5 years. And I've been making tech videos, obviously tech reviews and just sort of random tech related content. I took a little break for school, but in the last couple of weeks I've been back making lots of videos, so good to be back.
That's good. Look forward to checking them all out. I'm subscribed, so we're going to get into it. But anyway, you can start us off. What do we got in terms of Apple and their music sort of service?
So Apple is huge about getting your money, basically. They're also really good with local storage as opposed to cloud storage. So the biggest part of that is basically downloading your content, whether it's apps or movies or music, most likely music, and getting it onto your device and playing it there. You have to pay for the content. So that's basically the biggest part of what iTunes has been for the past couple of years, is just downloading the music, paying what you'd want for the music, and playing the file that's located on your device. And they've kind of pushed outside of that a little bit with iCloud, of course, with their upcoming new services and how that'll work nicely with iOS 5. And I think this is really a big push at Google and what Google's been doing for years, the past couple of years, which has been a sort of other side approach, which is the cloud. And the cloud, we use that term loosely for sort of online file storage, but that's been Google doing very similar thing, introducing Google Music, where instead of having to buy the file individually, and Google doesn't have a store yet, but instead of buying the file individually and downloading the file, then accessing that file from your local device, you actually just stream the content every time you want to listen to it. And this is, of course, dependent on always having internet connection. So that's the main difference between the Google experience right now and what the Apple experience has been.
So basically, Apple is you download it onto the computer, you listen to it, it's stored on an account, so they always know what you've purchased. So if you ever get a new computer, you can re-download the stuff. Right. But in Google's scenario, their service is you basically upload all the content that you have to their server, and then wherever you are, you're always streaming, you're always getting your content. But obviously, it's limited to the internet. So in Australia and a lot of developing, in terms of internet connection-wise, it's not going to be that great of a facility, but obviously it's the way towards the future. But in terms of like store-wise, Apple does have a music store, Google doesn't, but there is a sort of a talk that they might be opening up something. Is that true?
Yeah, Google's been slowly rolling their music out of beta. There's been Music Beta, which is just originally a couple free tracks that you could easily add to Google Music. And recently they had this new service come around for free discovering music that you could add also to Google Music. Obviously still no local or Google Music store, but I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully that'll show up when we roll out a beta.
So I mean, that's not new, because you do have that new service in the US. I think it's called Songify or Songza. What was it? The one where you can stream?
Spotify.
Spotify. That was it. It's not available here, but that's basically where you pay $20 a month or $30 a month, and you can stream any song you want anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, Spotify is unique because it offers both options. It's actually the most expensive account is actually $10 a month with access to 15 million songs, and you can choose to either always stream or have all your files local. You still, of course, won't be able to directly access the MP3, but you can either, stream certain songs and keep certain songs to download. It's a really interesting service, and I think that's an advantage. It's why people are paying for it, because they like the choice to stream or to download.
Well, if iTunes charges you $1 a song, you pretty much set pretty well anyway in terms of value for money.
Yeah.
So the way it works currently, you download everything through iTunes and upload it through your Google account, and you're set, huh?
It is, I mean, if it's possible. I think Spotify has iTunes integration at the moment. If you could get your iTunes library to work with Google Music, that would be really cool.
All right. So anyway, this cloud stuff is not really new. It's just been an advertised terminology lately, isn't it? Like, for example, all our emails are stored on a server on the net. So that's basically one form of cloud computing. And in Google's case, they've been doing things like documents, where you can called Google Docs, where you can store your documents online, edit them online. You've got stuff like now Music Beta, which is for your music. So they're all about storing stuff on the server. Now, obviously, a lot of people have concerns about, is it secure? Should I have like important data on there? What do you think? Is it secure enough?
At the moment, I think Google's servers are about as secure as it gets in terms of cloud storage. There are other big names like Dropbox and Memeo Connect and what have you, but I think Google, in terms of security, is on the top of the list and as high as you can go for your files.
Well, in terms of actual making use of the cloud and how you can benefit, just apart from, say, music streaming, I'll just explain my scenario at the moment. So I've got a Google account. I have all my emails forwarded through my Google account. That means all my devices, whether I've got an Apple, iPhone, whether I've got a tablet, whether I've got whatever, I can always have it in sync on there. Okay, I've got a video on how to do that on my site. But I also use Dropbox. So Dropbox is not made by Google, it's not made by Apple, but basically it syncs your content on your computer to a server, and when you log on to different computers where it's installed, it actually syncs and works even for iOS devices. So it's just a convenience thing. So it's just making your workflow a lot easier. You don't have to have a USB drive, you don't have to copy anything, you can move from one computer to the other, it just syncs across and you have no issues. Now, that's a server side thing. So obviously Dropbox uploads from your thing to a server and downloads back, so it's locally stored and online. Now, Google's case, they're doing just completely online. You edit everything online. We're making web apps.
Right.
Apple, on the other hand, they're not doing that. They're actually saying that we're going to make iOS more of a similar concept. So this is talking about their phones now, where if you take a photo, it's uploaded to the server and uploaded to any other iOS device or your computer. So when you go home, that photo is already on there. Do you think they're going to move into that, or is it just going to stay as more like a backup service?
I think there's a good chance Apple can move into that pretty quickly. Google has a very similar thing with what's called Instant Upload, which is integrated with Google Plus and Google Photos. Obviously, you take a picture and it's immediately available on your other Google devices. It's useful as backup, but I think Apple can use it as, something the way Dropbox has been using it, where you take a picture and then you go home and edit it on your PC, things like that. Yeah.
So in terms of security, then, being online and having uploaded to, say, Google server or a reputable company server like Dropbox or Apple, it's safe. No one's really going to be able to access it. It's more safe than basically your home computer anyway.
Yeah.
But this is a new way of actually backing up your content. So rather than having like an external hard drive, a normal PC with it being stored on there, you're actually uploading to a server, and that way, if something ever happens, your house burns down, not that I'm saying it will, but hopefully it doesn't, but worst case scenario, something did happen, your data is saved, and for businesses that's obviously very vital. From a consumer perspective like us, the cloud experience is still pretty different, isn't it, from both people? They're both claiming cloud, but they're offering completely different stuff.
Google's been pushing their Chromebook, which is obviously using Chrome OS, which is just a Chrome browser, and it's not selling like hotcakes or anything, but it's something interesting to see how people adapt to it and how people adopt it. And I think I've always said that Google should try to make some desktop apps to make it much easier to use their services. So for example, I use Google Docs for all my documents. I have all my documents. Every time I create one, I upload it to Google Docs. And I use a third-party service to connect them. So whenever it's created, I save it, then it goes up to Google Docs. I wish Google made an app or some sort of desktop experience where you could literally finish the document and save it, and it would be in Google Docs. and that would be something they could work on.
Yeah, see, that's my problem. Is like I'm happy to use Google Docs, like the interface and everything is fine, but I find it to be sluggish and a little bit slow. So if you've got a good fast computer, you really want to utilize that power for doing things like typing up assignments, doing a couple projects here and there, opening up tabs, switching between things, just making it really quick. Now, when I do like document, I'll go open new document, it'll be a little bit of a load, start up. Where if it was on the computer, it'll be instant, pretty much. Which is more to do with your internet connection. But like I said, like myself here, I've got a pretty fast connection. I'm assuming you do as well. But most people, generally speaking, don't. So they're not really going to fully be able to utilize what's Google offering right now. Google's more targeting the future, where Apple's more targeting kind of what users can benefit from right now, isn't it?
Yeah, especially because the web app itself for things like you said, Google Docs, they're kind of slow and dependent on a fast connection. But I mean, something they did interesting kind of recently is they allowed you to upload literally any type of file and be able to review that file on any
Who's this, Google?
computer. So if you could say open Microsoft Word without having to go on the internet, kind of like you do with Dropbox, and type the file in Word, work with it in Word, and then save it to that folder that's syncing with Google Docs, then when it has a good enough connection or when you're not doing something internet intensive, it'll go ahead and save it and upload it to the cloud for you, which would be really, really nice. That's kind of what I'm using right now with Memeo Connect. But
well, that's what they're trying to do with the Chromebook, aren't they?
yeah. They do rely entirely on web apps for the Chromebook, of course, but obviously that's the experience they want everyone to have and want everyone to want.
So basically, from both companies, what are we expecting? We've got the Apple side, which is going to give us just purely from cloud side. They're going to give us the music streaming is the same. They're not touching that, are they? That's not being synced across, or that is being synced across, isn't it?
Yeah, they're kind of starting up with that, right?
So if you buy something from their server, you have your account on multiple devices. It will sync across to multiple devices. Very good for convenience. They're doing that too for photos, as well as for, I think, apps, and certain apps can do that too. So that's their cloud experience. Basically just having your content pushed to the net and pushed to all your devices. But you can't access it like through a web browser or anything. You have to use their specific devices. Okay, that's fine. That's no problem because that's for convenience. Google, on the other hand, is like, look, anything you have on your desktop, we don't even need you to have a desktop anymore. You can use any laptop, anything you want, and you can access the stuff. So they're not really competing, are they? They're different services completely, and they're under that same cloud banner, but they're not offering the same thing.
Yeah, I think they're kind of innovating in their own separate fields, and they're moving in similar directions, but getting their own things done respectively. So Google, like you said, has Google Voice, Google Maps, Google Books. They have all these services, Google Calendar and Mail, and they really just want you to just outsource everything to the cloud. Put it on Google servers, trust us with it, give them the luxury of having it.
As a motto of the company.
Yeah. And then Apple's, they're pushing in a similar direction, not quite like the 100% cloud experience because they still want your money, obviously. They still want to have people purchasing, apps and books and movies and songs and things like that. So they're going to continue with that model.
The thing, Apple's model is basically you're gonna buy a device from us. We're going to sell you then other stuff. So we're going to sell you apps. We're going to sell you music. We're going to sell you content, and we're going to make our money from that. Where Google, on the other hand, is like we're going to offer everything for free, but we're going to put advertising on there and make our money from advertising. So two different ways of structuring your business. To be real honest, like even if I had advertising on the Google stuff, as long as it's like people have issues with it being targeted to you and not because they can see what you're doing, what you're uploading and that sort of stuff. If it's relevant content, then I don't have a big issue with it. So I mean, like if I'm interested in technology and then a technology ad will pop up, I'll look at that ad because it's relevant to me, I think that's what people shouldn't be afraid of. I think that's a good way. Do you think that's going to be an issue for people when it comes to like being targeted with advertising, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, as long as Google's doing what they do, people always seem to find a way to be concerned with Google knowing things about you and possibly doing something with that information. But I don't think it would really be in addition to what they already know. So if you're using Google services already and you start to use Google Music and it has ads, it's not any different from using Google search and having ads. So I don't think it would arise more of an issue. It would just be another reason for those people to avoid Google services.
So what's the solution then? What do we? Who's the winner here? Cloud, Apple, or Google?
Right now versus the future, I think right now Apple's the winner in terms of getting your money and staying on top of the business.
That's not from a fanboy
But
perspective or anything like that. We're not a fanboy.
no, I'm not a fanboy at all. Believe me, you can see my channel, and I honestly believe that Apple has their little ecosystem, or not little, their ecosystem is doing what they want it to do and getting the money that they need, and Google, the way they're working is getting people on their bandwagon and getting people to move towards the future, and I think that's going to work for them in the future.
To be honest, with Android, just let me double check. When you can you have that sort of similar syncing service where if you take a photo on your say tablet, the thing will go across as well?
Yep. I think it's all integrated. Google Plus kind of ties together all those different services. So now I have my Motorola Zoom over here. If I take a picture on my Droid,
Yep.
It'll show up within seconds on my Zoom and ready to go on Google
Okay.
Plus.
Well, in that case, I'm actually going to say Google's the winner
Mm-hmm.
because Apple's giving us stuff that we've already had. Like I said, the cloud isn't new; it's been around for a very long time. So Android's already giving us the facility of uploading, syncing content, photos from one device to the other. So that's exactly what Apple is doing. So they tick from both. But Apple's not giving us that web-based application. So where I can have my email stored on a server, I can go to another computer and just copy it over. So they're missing out on this huge segment of cloud-based actual stuff, which they're not even utilizing. So Google is really quite far ahead in terms of being set up for the future, where Apple's more just we're going to make it a little bit easier for people and connect them across all of our devices.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm happy with actually Google Plus now because in terms of like a social site, it's okay. If you want to add me, I'll put a link in the description. If you want to add Marquez, I'll leave a link in the description as well. But it's really tying, like you said, the services across. So if you've got photos in one app, documents in one, you can just copy them over, access them all, and they're really smoothing out the interface. So I think Google's doing a really good job at the moment. I'm really impressed with what they've done.
Yeah.
Do you have any final words before we wrap this up? I don't want to go over longer than sort of 20 minutes.
That's basically all I had. I'm trying as hard as I can to work over to a completely Google OS. In fact, I was using Dropbox for years, and I kind of dropped, no pun intended, I dropped Dropbox for Google Docs. So I'm trying to see what Google can do for me. I'm not using a Chromebook yet, but we'll see how that works out.
Well, like I said, I pretty much pulled out the winner, and I hope everyone who watched this video is informed better. Basically, if you have any comments, really leave them down there. So in the future, if we do some more collaboration videos like this, we can discuss. Just right down there. Just leave some discussion comments, so we got something to work with in the future. Also, we had some issues with live streaming this. We want to live stream something like this in the future, which would be a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. We've covered most of the stuff. Like I said, if you've got any suggestions, leave a comment below, and we'll definitely do another one soon. See you guys in another video. Marquez.
See you guys later.